Welcome to the show. Hi, I'm Randy Jeffers, and we are live from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, we are in for a treat today. We have with us Chandra Lacoste, RN, BSN. Now, those are some fancy initials, so we just call you Nurse Chandra, right?
Yes.
Well,
that works.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I graduated my first stint of nursing in 1999. Then I pursued my bachelor's and my master's in 2006. I graduated with my bachelor's from UMKC, and I am working on my master's right now through University of the United States out of San Diego, California.
Oh, very good. Now, you're also working you're an RN. I've had a lot of experience as an RN, which is a registered nurse, right?
Yes.
And then you're also working on becoming a nurse practitioner.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that, because a nurse practitioner is basically like, it's almost a doctor. It's like a physician's assistant, right, in some ways.
Well, a physician's assistant specifically is an assistant to a physician, has to have a doctor that oversees them. Nurse practitioner, we would have a little bit more autonomy. So more for preventative services and some just general treatments, whereas going on to becoming a physician, you would be able to do more like surgery and things like that. So
I see.
So primary care.
Well, very good. Now, you're sort of a specialist nurse, right?
I am.
You have a certain area that you specialize in. Tell us about that.
So I do aesthetics nursing these last 10 years. So I do Botox, fillers, chemical peels, and then different energy services. So lasers, whether that be IPL, ultrasound.
Now, what is IPL stand
Intense
for?
pulse light.
Okay.
So it's to reverse sun damage, pigment, and vascular lesions. So rosacea, traceable vessels on your nose.
Okay, so IPL, and what was the other one?
Radio frequencies.
Radio, okay.
Ultrasound. So like ultrasound would be something like therapy, which is the only FDA-approved non-surgical facelift.
Wow.
So that works by ablating the connective tissues at the level underneath the skin by aiming two different ultrasound across it to ablate that tissue underneath the tissue. So you're not getting bruising or any kind of downtime with that at all.
So you said non-surgical facelift. So Chandra, is it really possible that that one can really have without having surgery, without having a knife taken to them, that they can actually sort of look younger? And
as a matter of fact, yes, and not just with the old therapy. There's a lot of things in the frontier right now for revitalizing your face, reclaiming your youth. So old therapy works to kind of tighten that matrix. You get about 3 millimeters of lift, so backwards and up, not just in the lower face, but chin and then also brow. You could combine that with something like stem cell therapy in your fillers, or using PRP. You kind of reverse time.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah.
So you're 82 years old, right? You just look like you're 20?
No, I'm 42. So,
Are you really?
I am. I'm grandma. Yeah.
You are a grandma.
I am. I have a beautiful grandson.
My goodness.
He's 6 months old.
So what's the secret to your youthfulness?
Well, I started Vitality Services about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Sunscreen. Sunscreen's the number one thing. Everybody should wear it.
Let's stop there for a second. Now, how important is that? Because, especially people that live in the desert or in sunny places, because the sun is good for you in many ways. You get vitamins and things from it, right? But it's also a really bad thing, right?
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Okay, so as far as sunscreens, there's various types of sunscreen. You have your chemical sunscreen, you have your barrier sunscreen, and you have your combination sunscreens. And you have products that also have melanocyte inhibitors to help prevent your precancerous lesions, which are caused by the sun. So the sun creates changes in your skin. At a certain point, you have so much radiation that those changes are not to your benefit. So where a tan is actually your body's mechanism to protect yourself from that radiation, at a certain point, you have so much of that radiation coming that your body starts creating abnormal pigment. So where you see what looks like a cute freckle or a cute spot, it's not.
Yeah.
It's actually sun damage. It's cancerous, or precancerous is what we call it. So if you see freckles happening on your face or spots on your arms, get them lasered off, while they're still young.
So they can be reversed.
They can be reversed.
And the laser is what would do that?
The laser is what reverses that. That's something that you should be doing every year. Everybody who lives in the desert should be once a year getting a good either IPL or a laser facial to reverse any kind of sun damage that you got that last year, especially here in Vegas. So.
Now, you notice some people, especially when they get older, they get little, I guess you'd call them moles, little
The sunspots,
raised,
liver spots.
and sometimes they're raised on people.
Oh, those are
right?
so those are keratin based.
Okay.
For those ones, basically we use a peel solution. So depending on how thick the keratin buildup is for you, we assess that. We have a team of doctors that we work with and have some treatment plans based on what your particular situation would be. So if there is pigment in that lesion and it's lifted, we would do a combination of laser and chemical peels. So,
Wow,
yeah,
very
so
cool.
a little bit of everything.
So I understand you are embarking on a new adventure into the world of stem cells.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about stem cells and.
The company that I'm working with right now, we are just getting ready to launch using cord blood cells to be able to help your body to reclaim your youth, basically. So whether it be a joint injection or it be a hyaluronic acid filler that we would have previously just used that straight filler and your body would have reabsorbed that in about 3 to 9 months, depending on which product we use. Now you have those stem cells that we can mix with it, that your body will actually recreate fat cells, connective tissue, whatever it is that we place that stem cell into, it actually has that propensity to create new tissue that mimics that. So that's really exciting. I'm super excited about that. We're just getting all that stuff put together. Awesome scientists, and very excited to get that going.
Well, the fountain of youth is what everybody's been searching for forever, I guess, right? But,
yeah. Well, I've heard that there are people that believe that the person that's going to live to be 1,000 years old might be on the planet right now. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it might not be me, but might be one of my clients.
Or it might be a little baby, right?
Yeah, right. It could be. It could be my grandson. So.
Yeah. So you're a grandmother. My goodness.
Just a little bit. Just 6 months. Just 6 months worth.
So tell me what does that grandson mean to you?
Oh gosh. He's the world. He's a magic little thing. He's like, if you hug him, I can give him back. I think that's the most awesome part about being a grandparent. That, and I know that my legacy moves on. My daughter is with the awesome man who's a police officer here in town, and they've been married for a little over a year. And I'm very blessed, very, very blessed to have an awesome son, awesome daughter, awesome grandson.
Very cool. So, and what's your grandson's name?
Atlas.
Atlas. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful name.
Yes, I like it. Well, his father is half Mexican and half General American, 57, and
So
his
he's
mom.
exotic looking.
Yes, yeah. My daughters look just like me, and together they are a melting pot, which creates Atlas. There you go.
That's right. He's going to be, but with red hair.
Oh, actually, he does have a little bit to
Does
it.
he?
Just a little bit, not much. Just to start.
Is red hair dominant, or is
It's
it?
actually very recessive, but he also looks like he's going to have blue or green eyes, and his grandma and I have green eyes, so we're hopeful. So, or his other grandmas. I'm a grandma, or sorry, I am Gigi, a grandma, and then she's grandma. So tons of fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. I understand you also have this wonderful man in your life.
I do have a wonderful man in my life.
Yeah.
It was nice meeting you.
Oh, you smooth talker, you.
I'm working on it. Learning from you. Yeah, I'm recently engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very exciting.
Yeah, I like it. He works for the fire department. Yeah, pretty cute.
And so does he have red hair as well, since he works for the fire department?
He has no hair. I figure if you don't have red hair, having no hair is the next best thing.
Next best thing?
Yeah.
That's right.
You can certainly be brunette all you'd like, but yeah.
So let's go back to stem cells, or being a nurse. You've been an aesthetics nurse. Now that's a different thing than most nurses, because most nurses aren't trained in that area, right?
No.
So some of the things, some of the miracles that you've witnessed, tell us about some of those.
Miracles? Stem cells and PRP, as far as the things that I have noticed. The biggest thing with stem cells so far is I had a patient that came in, she had a knee injection done with stem cells after having been told that she had to have a knee replacement.
Wow.
And so she came in the other day and she said, oh my gosh, she's like, I'm not getting a knee replacement. You're not going to believe this. And she tapped her leg back and forth and she danced right there in the little foyer, and it was absolutely magic. And So I think that is like my favorite, like new to stem cells, like actually meeting a person who's had a treatment,
Yeah.
and to see that person go from almost having to lose their knee to having their doctors completely floored, and she's up and doing a jiggy on the floor. So super stoked about that. So the same patient, we pulled some PRP on her and did some stem cells, and I did some stem cells in her nasolabial folds and around her eyes. So super excited to see the results on that. And she'll be back this next month for that. So this is all pretty new. But hearing those stories and then also seeing the patients after the fact is just pretty magical. So. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense that if you have someone that's very attractive, and they, we all age every year, right? And you get little wrinkles, little lines and things. It sort of makes sense that's easy to do. You can fill them up, the little lines, or you can move them around, or do what plastic surgeons do and pull the skin tighter, I guess is what they do. But can you take a person that maybe is not as attractive as some and really turn them into somebody that's just incredibly attractive? Is that possible?
Yes, it's very, very possible.
Really?
And I have incredibly beautiful patients that come in that are already absolutely gorgeous that want to change as well. So I can use fillers to pretty much change the way you look as extremely as we would like. So I have patients that come in that have a more narrow or flat bridge of their nose. I've gone in and done a complete nose job with them. I've gone in and done complete cheekbones, chins, rebuilt the jawline, soften the jawline with Botox. You can completely change the way a person looks. But you could also take a person who maybe doesn't have as well-defined a jawline as I do, and you could give them fillers here and give them the appearance of that nice jaw. You could take a person who maybe has an ethnic background where they are more flat through here. You can give them bigger, roll out their nose. You can lift out the eyebrows. You could do so much. So really, with the volume replacement options we have right now, we can change the way you look. With the stem cells, obviously stem cells aren't going to be able to give you bigger lips if you want bigger lips. We're not going to be able to give you, more defined cheekbones if you weren't born with more defined cheekbones. We can help you to create a more connective tissue, more fat tissue. So just in general, our volume depletes about 1 to 2 cc's per year of fat loss in our cheeks and under our eyes. So if we're losing that volume regardless, obviously we're going to have to replace it if we want to maintain a certain look. But also, if you use those stem cells, you have to keep in mind that our stem cells are only going to do so much because they are recreating what we already have there. So if you're trying to build something that we don't already have, we do have other options as well. So that's where the fillers come in.
So let's talk about some of those other options. So fillers, Botox, and other type of things like that.
So we have options as far as like to change the way you look completely, or options to maintain or to reverse. So
I see. Well, let's start wherever you want to start.
Well, let's see. Let's start with the facial volume. I brought a couple of little tools here. I don't know if I can.
I see.
Pull up for you. Okay. So so this is a facial volume chart here that actually comes from, I believe, Allergan Cosmetics. As you can see, at the age of 35, you have nice, good fat pads through your face. You start to lose those around the eyes, which usually shows up as like bags underneath the eyes, or just looking a little more tired or hollowed out there. You start to lose this through here, and then your volume starts to fall down, and your sides of your marionette lines and your around your mouth, the corners of your mouth kind of fold down. So if we go in there and we use hyaluronic acid filler with stem cells, we can actually cause this tissue through here to recreate itself, and that's where the stem cells and the PRP are coming in. To be that magic that we're looking for, that last little oomph that's going to be able to make that change without us looking so worked over. So.
Very cool.
But also worth knowing.
Let's see if we can get this to stand up here. There we go.
So we have also different types of fillers. So we have fillers that are stimulants, which basically are made to stimulate your own collagen, and we cause a little bit of a traumatic injury to your tissue with something like Sculptra. We go in and we put in a whole lot of volume, and then we basically just let your body create that natural collagen that you have. Whereas if we're trying to shape you and we're not just trying to revolumize you, we would use a product that's a little bit stiffer. So hyaluronic acid fillers like Restylane, several of the Juvederms are good for that as well. I like to use Beltora a lot for under the eyes for teardrops, because it doesn't have that hydrophilic issue where it attracts fluid and then causes a kind of a blistery look under the eyes. So there are so many products out there, and every single one of them has its own little benefit to it. When it comes to HAs, we can mix stem cells with any of those. We can mix PRP with any of those. Then you go into Radiesse, which is a calcium-based. I like to use Radiesse the most for cheekbones. So the reason why I use the Radiesse for the cheekbones is because we're putting it right at the level of the bone, and since it's calcium-based, you can get about 2 years out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then other products like Belafil, they last like 5 to 10 years. Where with the stem cells, we're hoping that we're going to be able to get lifelong results. So
Lifelong? Wow.
Well, if you think about that, if we're creating new tissue,
Yeah.
you get to keep the tissue. But now that's just projected. It's all brand new as far as the stem cells. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
really
very
excited to
exciting.
be part of it.
So the future's bright.
Yeah, it's very bright, very exciting.
So we can all, no, it doesn't matter how we came into this world, doesn't matter how we are right now, the future's bright. We can be anything we want to be.
I believe that is true. Yes.
And live as long as we want to be, maybe.
Yeah, well, barring a car accident or,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, well, there's always
spaghetti
accidents.
bowl issues, right? So,
That's right. Well, for those of you who are not in Las Vegas, we have a pretty interesting set of roads right here in this highways here in this town.
yeah, especially right now, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you have some materials there. What else do you have there?
Well, so I had brought just some general information about various types of fillers and how long they last. And this is just actually taken off of the internet. Another wonderful person had put this together. It just kind of shows how long these fillers last. These are all your most popular products on the market right now, and I love each and every one of these products for a different reason. I think being that I'm working with the stem cells now, I might not work with the Sculptra as much, because it's my goal now to help people to create connective tissue and create that collagen matrix and all that with the stem cells. So I'm more likely to do more of the suspension, the HAs, except for when there's a patient that has a really advanced wasting of volume. So these are just your general products and how long they last. Prices, as far as these things, you're looking at about $500 when you're down here at your 6-month products. You're looking at about $1,000 per syringe to look at your 5-year. And so everything here is kind of in between. You're looking usually around 600 if you go right through there.
So what would it, and now that's per syringe you said.
That's
So
per
an
syringe.
average person, how many syringes would they need?
So it depends on what your goal is. So your Radiesse is a 1.5 cc syringe, where your Juvederms are 0.8 cc syringes, and your other HA fillers are 1 cc syringe. So it's just a matter of what you're doing. So if you're doing lips, I usually like to do 1 cc of either Juvederm or Beltora or Radiesse, actually, or not Radiesse, sorry, Restylane, for those, because actually the swelling that's involved with some of those is actually to your benefit, where the Beltora stays exactly where I want it. So if it's somebody who just wants a really natural lip, I would use that product. So it's really important that your clinician knows what those products are and what their benefits are. And a really big deal here in Las Vegas is that not this July, but the prior July, so just barely a year now, the laws changed here in Vegas, or not just in Vegas, but in Nevada as a whole. And so when those laws changed, what happened was, before that July, you were allowed to have anybody off the street do injections of Botox. So we had a huge...
Wait a minute, anybody?
I know, it's sad. It's scary.
But under a doctor?
Under a doctor still has to order. You always have to have a doctor who is your overseeing person.
Okay, so spa, like esthetician places could do that.
Yeah, so
Wow.
the salons and spas had estheticians, doctors' offices had MAs. So these people who weren't necessarily licensed medical people
Or trained, right?
They weren't necessarily even trained the same way we were.
Oh my goodness.
So I guess there was a case several years ago back in Henderson where like 10 people got hepatitis, and so then rather than changing the laws to say, you know, only a medical professional can inject, they said, well, gosh, let's just, you know, turn around and make a single-use vial law. So here in Nevada, you could only use that one vial per one patient. So they made that law because they wanted to be able to continue to have, you know, their MAs and their estheticians inject to save money so they could get better profit margin. So now that's been changed. And so what that means to the Valley, though, is that there's very few skilled injectors out here. So there's a small handful of us that have been injecting for, you know, over 5 years, which is what you would want if somebody's going to do advanced injections on you.
Yeah.
But the most people are just nurses that just got their certificate. They went to a 2-day or maybe a 5-day course, and they really don't know what they're doing yet. You know, so it takes a good year to 2 years of injecting before you can really say,
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
So what I've been doing is I've been doing consult work across the Valley. I've worked for different spas, helping them to bring in other nurses or bring in plastic surgeons, and I've gone and injected, and I've been doing a lot of corrections. And so I'm really passionate about helping to get our community and our nurses on the same page as far as how to do injections, because I can't stand being out in the community and seeing duck lips or seeing botched Botox. It's like, you know, like that. So,
You know, you do see that when you're out and about. You see people that you just know they did something went wrong.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and when they look like that, people think that's what Botox is. You know,
Yeah.
so they think that's what fillers are. But really, good Botox, good fillers, you don't look like you had a bunch of Botox. You don't look like you had a bunch of fillers. So that's, you know, if somebody knows that you had it done, there's a problem. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I mean, if it's done right,
Yeah.
nobody would ever
Well,
even suspect, right?
You'd probably assume I did because I'm 42 and I walk around with a grandbaby. So I would hope that you would know that doesn't happen naturally. Most people think it doesn't happen naturally.
Yeah, right. Well, let's do some. I'm going to go out on a limb here and ask you to look at me. Now, of course, I'm in my late 40s, and so no, I'm just kidding.
Late 30s.
I'm 65 this year. So, but if you were to do some work on my face, and we had an initial consultation, what would you tell me about what I need to do?
Need to do?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first
Or what
off,
would you recommend just looking at my face?
sorry, I always ask.
Now, I've never had. I don't put any. I've never put anything on my face. I've been in my share of sun, I guess, but you know, I've never had any work done or anything. So
Okay. Do you wear sunscreen?
no.
No? Oh, okay. Well, first off, if you came into me, what's your main concern? I would treat this like a consult.
Well, let's just say
You came
I
in-
want to look like your grandson's name. I want to look like Atlas.
Do you?
Okay.
You wanna look
On
like
my
Atlas?
face.
Okay, so you want your face to look like Atlas. Okay.
Right.
Well, you don't want to be as round as Atlas, but so as far as you as a whole, you look awesome, and guys don't want to have that refined look that women do. So I have a lot of gentlemen that come to me and they want to look a little bit more youthful, and a lot of times I end up talking them right on out of it because the stuff that they want to change would take away that really, you know, the manly portion of what you got going on.
Right.
But as far as like all clients, male, female, in between, and yourself included, here because you are asked for it here.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a glutton
I think
for
you're
punishment.
incredibly handsome, so do not for a second take any of this
You
as
smooth
a
talker,
yes.
you.
Okay,
Wow.
so here we go. Sun damage. You 120% every single person that comes through the door. I do a consult. I tell them we're taking care of the sun damage. Every year in October, clear out the sun damage.
Okay.
So I would want to do IPL facial on you. Probably 2 to 3 because you haven't had, you know, one every year for
Never
years.
had one.
So we need to get you cleared out, and once we have you cleared out, then we can do you.
Okay. So once again, IPL stands for.
intense pulse light. So
Okay.
I would do IPL facial for you about 2 weeks apart, 3 of them, get you completely cleared out. You don't really need any Botox because your lines actually look really nice on you. I would say a little bit of volume across the cheekbones too. Can I touch your face? Can I touch your face? So if we were to put some volume here, it would just give you back the Nike swoosh. So if you put your thumb here, you can kind of push that up there. Or
Okay.
I can pull your mirror up if you want.
Oh, you came prepared.
Ah, I
All
did.
right.
Here you go. So yeah, so if you were to take this, and you put this here. So,
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so if you were to put just like one radius, for instance, which is 1.5 cc's in each
Mhm.
cheek, it'd give you back that cheekbone.
Oh.
Also, maybe put a little bit of volume back here, give you back your jaw. So we put a L here, and then we put your Nike swoosh here. If we did any Botox, we do a tiny bit right between your eyes, and then just tiny bit right in the corner.
Now, how about under here? I noticed there's little.
So
Little-
the tear trough area, that's a very
I
advanced.
call them bags, but yeah.
So it's a super advanced area for doing any kind of injection. So if you
Okay.
ever go anybody other than myself, make sure that they've been doing this for at least 5 years. Tear troughs are an advanced technique. So as far as your tear troughs, a lot of that's going to be resolved if you did some volume through your Nike swoosh there.
It sort of pulls it up.
Yeah,
I
well,
see that. Yeah.
So if we were to take care of that, give you back that volume, it'll actually help soften it a lot. Then we use a product that doesn't have the issues with the swelling to put right in that little crease, and it'd be less than 2/10 of that cc would go in there. So whatever we have left with that, I would put it probably the creases of the lower mouth.
Right in here.
Yeah, right in
Now, what's in? Is it a liquid inside there that makes
it's
that
a
little
fat
bag?
pad. So
little
that's-
fat pads. Okay.
That is,
Like eating too many donuts, maybe.
yes, too many
Okay.
donuts. So that is this fat pad right here, as it's shrinking. So as this fat pad shrinks away, you see how that creates that little pocket there?
Uh-huh.
So if you were to look at yourself in the mirror, that little pad right there is where your folds are. So if we go in and we put a little bit of volume back in there, though, we can soften that look
Now, when
out
you say
first.
volume, explain.
Say volume, I'm talking about hyaluronic acid filler generally.
Okay.
Which in our case, I would want to mix with some stem cells because I'd hope to have you not have to have another injection, or maybe you only need 1 or 2 more and reproduce your own tissue in there rather than having to continue to get more
Because
injections.
without the stem cells, it would last for 5 years, maybe.
No,
or-
so for under the eyes, that filler lasts about a year.
Oh, only a year, so you have
yeah.
to do that every year.
Yes, and so like Bellafill is the 5-year filler.
Uh-huh.
You don't want to use that in your around your eyes or in your lips because those move, and since things can migrate over time, you wouldn't want to have a more permanent filler in that space. So
Oh, okay. You know, it's interesting that what one person wants to get rid of, another person wants to get.
yeah, right. Or
Right.
you want to get rid of it from one spot,
Yeah.
and you want to put it someplace else, which is another situation. We can do fat transfer as well. So.
Really? How do you do that?
So a small area liposuction. So
Uh-huh.
whether that be, and you could do this in office too. So a lot of clinics do in-office small area liposuctions, which is 2 hand areas worth of fat. So if I could grab it with my hands, I could suck that out. We do that in office under oral sedation. Harvest the fat, and then we take that fat and we re-inject it wherever we want it, whether it be a Brazilian butt or it be in the cheeks, nasolabial fold. Now that's your fat. That's all your body's tissue, so you get to keep that. So you're not going to lose it.
So there's no rejection.
No rejection.
If
It's all
you
yours.
if I used someone else's fat, there might be a problem.
There would be a huge problem. Yeah.
Okay.
So your body would react to the antigen. So you have antigens
So
in your
it knows
body.
my fat
Yes.
and likes it.
It doesn't know or like their fat. Yes.
It probably likes it a lot because
Yeah.
it keeps wanting to pile it on, right?
Stick it around, right? Yeah.
Well, very interesting. That's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on out there. I mean, there's
Uh-huh.
like, it seems like every time I turn around, there's another advance in the world as far as what we're doing. So you even learned about, like, for instance, stem cells do best when there's a lack of oxygen or there's a damage to their tissue. We have a hyperbaric chamber at the clinic, and we had a patient who had done his hyperbaric right before this time instead of right after, and so he didn't taste what he says taste his stem cells because his body was better oxygenated, so it got to go more thoroughly through his body. So it's like all these little science things that I get to now be a part of. I get to be a
Wow.
part of this whole beginning of something great, something that's going to make a huge difference for people. And so just learning those little tiny things like, hey, this could take away that flavor that you get because it's getting out further in your body. It's like, you wouldn't even think about that. How would you
Yeah.
even know that unless you have the stuff that we have at the clinic? It's like having an entire lab to where, this is another big thing with PRP. So I've been doing PRP in spas and salons and stuff for 5 of my 10 years doing aesthetics. And so we've been doing the PRP, the standard, yellow top, and doing the 2 spins and doing the things that we've been taught. Not having a laboratory available, you just assume that your gold liquid is your PRP and you're doing awesome. So the doctor at the lab says, hey, let's give this a whirl. We'll do a couple tubes the way they do at Spa Way. We'll do a couple tubes the way that we do it over here with a full-on lab and a medical clinic involved. And so spun it down, did everything. We got 500,000. We got 500,000 on the spin from the spa. He got 120,000 on the spin from his technique, and I was just floored. For all that, the technique that we were doing before certainly has the PRP in it. It's nothing compared to the PRP that he's doing.
Having the right tools and the right technique, right?
Yeah. So it's like amazing. I'm very excited. So, my numbers might have gotten twisted around there for a second. So it was 487.
You did it backwards?
Yeah, sorry, it was 487,000, and then it was.
Well, the idea is it's a lot better.
Yeah,
right?
it was like almost 3 times as much. So.
Wow.
And that's also for anybody who's in the spa world and getting PRP done. If they can't check it in the lab, then how do they know that they're giving you the strength that you need to get an accurate treatment? And so at other clinics, I've been doing PRP for hair restoration, and I have good results. I noticed this last few months that when we add Kenalog in, especially for women with alopecia, as a steroid. So if we add some steroid into our PRP for our women with the hair loss issues, that we were getting a lot faster grow back, which is awesome. One of those things I get to learn as I'm going, that there's these little advances in technology. Now, what if that lady also had PRP from a laboratory creation, where they were able to look at it under the machine, see that it has the right concentration, and then inject her with it? So this is just all awesome stuff to be learning right now. So
now, you mentioned steroids. That's a scary word for a lot of people, because we hear that word in a negative connotation. And talk to us about that. Is it something to be feared, or is it just something that has a good use too?
Well, it depends on what kind of steroid you're talking about. So in this case, we're talking about an injectable steroid that is very specifically used for treating medical issues. This isn't like your anabolic steroids that you're going to the gym and you're souping up and going to have roid rages. This is your steroids that are anti-inflammatory. So generally, if a person's hair loss issues have to do with autoimmune, or has to do with any of those kinds of things that we could do with inflammatory responses, then we could treat it with Kenalog. But then the question is the Kenalog what's causing the hair to grow back faster, or is it the PRP? So now that I have this access to the having the lab and having all the clinic and the doctors and everybody together as a team like this, we can actually ask those questions.
So you'll know.
Yeah. So next time that we talk, I'll be able to tell you for sure it was the PRP or it was the Kenalog. So
now, you mentioned growing hair back, so let's talk about that, because there's a lot, especially with men. But I think it's probably an issue with women as well.
Actually, more women patients than
really?
than male
There's more.
patients
Wow.
for PRP. Yeah.
But there's I guess because it's kind of in. A lot of guys just shave all their because they want to be bald, right? It's
And bald is sexy.
It's sexy, yeah, right. And so. A little personal thing there because of that handsome fiance guy you have, right?
Yeah, God only bless those with perfect heads with baldness. See,
I would. That's why I don't shave my head, because mine's not that way. I'm sure.
Well, see, that's what you have perfect hair, so that's.
Okay.
You get perfect head or perfect hair,
You grow a lot of hair, you can cover up a lot of the imperfections, right? But is it possible for those that want to grow hair? Is it possible that you could do that?
It is. It depends on what the cause of the hair loss is. So if it's because of testosterone production, there's products that can block the DHT, the receptors that are causing you to not be able to grow your hair. So there's products for that. There's PRP, which we can do now, obviously with the lab, get stronger results, I would assume, than we were getting with our spa preparations. We could do in our clinic for about the same price and get a better result, which is awesome. So hair restoration is a combination of products, because you have 4 to 6 growth cycles for your hair. So your hair is always in active growth and loss stages. So if you have a product that's going to slow down your loss stage, you get to keep more of your hair longer. that helps you to have thicker hair. So the shampoos for that, like Purador, which I only get to plug it because it's Amazon and you can't purchase it any other way anyways, but it is the most awesome shampoo for all that kind of stuff.
Now say the name again.
It's called Purador.
Pure, is it P-U-R?
Yeah, P-U-R-D-O-R. So it's the 2 Minute Club on Amazon. And I actually was introduced to it a couple years ago by a girlfriend of mine, and she came and she had all these little tiny baby hairs just sticking out above the top of her head. She's like, I swear this isn't me having broken hair. I started using this shampoo and I have new hair now. And I was like, oh, yeah, right. So then I ordered my fiance, myself some, and I have a lot of hair, but I have even more hair now than I did before. So I never had the alopecia. I just experiment on myself before I would ever go out there and market something to somebody. And
but you're a believer now.
I am, and
Yeah.
I actually want to figure out what the active ingredients are and figure out how to make it better, because it's a little too expensive for my taste.
Yeah.
Yes, but if you want hair, it's a good way to go.
Well, it's cheaper than going into a clinic, right?
This is what I come into a lot of issues with patients, is they want me to tell them the one thing that I can do to, I have this much money and I'm going to do just this one thing. It's like, it's a culmination of things. Like your treatment plan for you, it wouldn't just be IPL. We're not just IPL and we're done. It wouldn't be just Botox and we're done. Your plan has to incorporate ongoing care. So you're going to have a initiation of your treatment, and then you're going to have maintenance. So whatever it is that we're doing with you, it's never a one and done. So your hair, shampoo is going to be important. If your hair is more than a couple inches long, conditioner is important. If you are already bald and you're shiny bald, to where like I run my hand over it and I can't feel it, good chance we're not going to get it back, but if we were, it would be stem cells. If you already have some prickly, we could try PRP, get a lot of really good results with PRP. Stem cells, they have a lot of amazing results that have been published. I personally have not seen them in person as far as like the patients. I'm very excited
because it's new for you.
Because it's brand new for me. Yeah. I've seen a lot of stuff online, a lot of pictures online, but as far as like me personally being able to say,
well, we've had people on the show, some scientists that work with stem cells and some doctors and different people, and some of the stories they talk about. I mean, it's like miracles happening. Just amazing things.
I had another patient with heart failure. He had his ejection fractured. It was down to like he said it was down to 20 or 30, and he's gotten it all the way back up. He is running around dancing and doing the nutcracker. So cannot complain for a second. He's so excited to have just to have that part of his life back. Actually, it's the second patient that I've had that has had stem cells or PRP with CHF. So the heart failure. So just that, like, that's not even the aesthetics realm. So I'm predominantly aesthetics. I do also do home health care, and then I do some advocacy for the Veterans Association.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a board member for Life Change Transition, where I do a lot of advocacy for vets that come in from war that are needing some transitional counseling. Wow. So for me, that's always been my kind of give back. But now I also get to say, gosh, there's this one other thing you can do before we're going to go hack your leg off, or there's one other thing we can do before we're going to make that determination that there's nothing else that we can do. So really, like, to bring all that together into one spot is like absolutely amazing. So I'm very, very excited to bring my vitality services together with how to help you have a better overall quality of life. Who wants to live forever if you can't be healthy? So,
you want to put it all together, right?
Yeah, you want to look good, want to feel good. So,
Nurse Chandra, let me ask you a question. You've been doing all these wonderful things for people, and some of them are just sort of miraculous things, I guess is a good way to describe it. But how does it feel as a person to be able to know that you had a hand in changing someone's life for the better? It's got to be a great feeling.
I think that's why I love the healthcare field. I get to make a difference in people's lives, and not just in, obviously I make a big difference in people's self-esteem in my vitality services. I make a big difference in people's just overall perception of the world, because they can go out in the world now, smile and look at the universe and be confident. So so that's awesome. just the stem cell thing as giving me opportunity to be able to help people maybe save their lives, so I don't think I'm going to save lives with one Botox or one filler or whatever, helping some people save their hair. I do save lives helping them to prevent heart failure or that kind of stuff. So this is just a really neat way to incorporate everything that I've ever done in my life, in a really good way. So very excited.
Very exciting. Yeah. So let's move forward. Let's go 4, 5, 6 years into the future, and tell me, what do you think life's going to look like for you?
Well, I'll have my nurse practitioner's license by then. Hopefully, I would see that the stem cell culture will have evolved quite a bit for our community as a whole in the U.S. But also would like to kind of branch out nationally and internationally. The plan is to create some protocols, maybe even some products, and then market them across the country. So I think we're perfectly situated to do that. So you take a little bit of the best of everything, and all those minds come from all over the country. It's pretty awesome. We have people from New York there this last week, and people from Seattle, and people from just all over the place. So I see this going global. I see the ideas coming together and just making some magic happen. So
very exciting.
Yeah.
And on a personal level, any more little atlases coming into your family, your extended family?
I've been trying to convince Kiana to have a granddaughter for me. It's so far not happening, but it could happen. I personally am not having any more atlases, so I will have the atlases vicariously. So
absolutely.
So
well,
yeah.
That's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're just about out of time, but what words of wisdom do you have for the person out there that's watching us that maybe knows absolutely nothing about aesthetics or that community or the things that are available? What kind of advice do you have?
Number one advice for all people everywhere: sunscreen with a melanocyte inhibitor. My favorite is a PCA skincare line, Perfecting Protection, because it has a melanocyte inhibitor.
Perfecting
Protection.
Okay, and where can you get that?
So you can get it at PCAskin.com.
PCAskin.com. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. You could contact me through my Instagram, which is the Nurse Chandra, or you can look up online anybody in town that has it. I think there's like 3 or 4 clinics in town that I know of for sure have the PCA skin.
Okay.
That particular product line is going to be in your medical spa or your medical clinics. So it's usually associated with having a physician that oversees the practice. So.
Okay.
But it's all very prescriptive, active products. So for yourself and anybody that comes to me, I always suggest the rejuvenation serum for after you wash your face. I like a pigment bar for washing, and then I like the Perfecting Protection for your daily. And if you aren't going to wear a night cream, you wear that Perfecting Protection to bed even. It's awesome product. So so those are your 3 products you have to have. So until I create a new line that has stem cells in it, of course. So.
Of course. Now, how about the sun? Should one always wear a lot of people like to go lay on the beach, right, with the sun?
I lay on the beach.
Do you?
I sure do. Can't you tell? I lay on a beach with a towel over myself. So the sun in general, you only really need 10 minutes a day. So people going and laying on the beach, we're abusing our bodies if we do that. So if you're wearing sunscreen and you enjoy going out in the sun, just make sure you reapply your sunscreen every 2 hours. If you are thinking to yourself that you're just going to be an outdoorsy person and that's where you're going to be, you're either going to have to come to terms with the fact that you're probably going to get skin cancer someday and your skin's going to age and you're not going to have that elasticity to bounce back, so you're going to wrinkle more. And if you want to be able to be in the sun, you could be one of those people who chooses to get your laser services maybe once every 3 months instead of twice a year or once a year. So you could be responsible with the sun. You have to make a plan, So find yourself an awesome, whether it be a medical spa or a doctor's office, a dermatologist, get yourself a plan. So if you work outside, doesn't mean that you're going to have skin cancer. It just means you get skin checks more often. It means that you get treatments with the laser to take care of those pigments before it turns into a cancer more often. So, just give us a holler or give somebody a holler. We'll tell you what to do.
So the laser treatments now, are those expensive?
Not really. So as far as like a IPL, which is for the general sun damage, which I would suggest everybody get once a year at least.
Okay.
Potentially 3 the first time that you're getting them done, because you got different levels. It's usually about $200 to $300 for a facial. You find them on Groupon or whatever, or you can.
That's for a facial, but you need it all over, right?
So from here to here.
Okay.
Is what I usually,
for the IPL.
Most people from here to here. And then if they have people who have their arms exposed, you could do the tips of the fingers to the shoulders. But usually that's it's running about $250 is what I'm seeing out there. I actually just got done doing a seasonal price check. So if you go on like Groupon or whatever, you'll see them anywhere from $199 to $300. So, and then when you go into a spa, they'll usually quote you a package price. So if you were going to do a full sun clear out and you wanted to do your arms and your legs or whatever, I've had places that do like $200 an hour for their laser time or whatever. So just kind of, each clinic's going to be different, and then obviously whatever it is your treatment plan is, the more you buy, the more you get type thing. So you'll go see or get a free consult someplace, and I would compare 2 or 3 places if you don't have access to the internet to check.
Well, let's talk a little bit. We have just a couple of minutes left, but let's talk a little bit more about the sun, because you're very fair complected, and I suspect if you lay in the sun for too long, you're going to turn really red and.
I magically don't.
You don't.
I don't. My family thought that we were part Native American for years. My dad believed it. My family, grandpa looks like he's Cherokee. Just found out that I am at least 16th African American. Isn't that? Did you believe that? Right? But I don't burn, so I never have. My daughter does, though.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I'm not a burner. So.
Well, you see people that have a dark tan. They're in the sun a lot, and sometimes some of them have beautiful skin.
Yeah,
and it's almost like if you have a dark tan, that you're more protected.
But you're not.
But you're not, huh?
No. So you get to a certain point where you're pushing those cells. So you think of like an umbrella. So if you have like a sun umbrella, you pop that sun umbrella open. Well, that sun umbrella can only do so much before it gets too hot, and then it starts to degrade, and then of course it's letting some of that radiation through. So if you look at your melanocytes, which is what's causing the tan, as being little umbrellas that are pushing open, that are never getting closed down because you're abusing the sun.
Right.
At some point, those cells start to act funny, and that's where you start to see those darker brown spots that look like freckles, or which we call sunspots, or we call liver spots, or we call age spots. So it's super important to clear those out. I think if I said that 100 times today, it would be worth it. That hopefully somebody out there went out and said, I need to give myself some photofacials and reverse my aging. It's so important.
Now, when we call them liver spots, does it have anything to do with your liver?
It doesn't.
No.
And I think that people just associated it with age when they were, back in the day before we had all the knowledge that we have. There is some indications as far as like when you have liver failure, your skin does start to change colors as far as getting yellow, such as mottled.
Jaundiced.
But but that's not what those brown spots are that we see on people's faces and on their hands.
All right, so back to me. I have a couple little spots
yeah, we'd clear
here.
those out.
So the laser would do that?
Yeah, the laser would do that.
Okay, so it'd be gone.
Yes. So I'm getting a Cynosure Elite MPX, which is a freeform laser, and it is like the best in the industry. It's my first laser that I ever purchased, and I have since then worked with, probably about 100 different lasers, and it is the one that I would go back to 100 times over. So that one, we can feather those out. We can also tighten your skin. We can also trace just the smallest little vessels and get rid of them. Some awesome stuff we could do with lasers. And then you could just do a general clear out with IPL with a laser tech even.
Now you mentioned laser, IPL, and you had a third one.
So radio frequencies?
Yes, tell us about that.
So radio frequencies, there's a million of them, as we all know. You could use them to cavitate fat, which is where we...
to cavitate.
So you have lipolysis, which is where we're killing fat cells.
Okay.
And then we have cavitation of the fat cell, which is where we're causing that fat cell to become leaky, to let the oils out so that your body can then dispose of the oils. So with radio frequencies, you have... if you go online, you look up laser lipo. Okay, so some of it you might show up with, actual laser lipo where they go in with the laser and melt the fat and they suck it out. But for the most part, what you're coming across is these radio frequency procedures where it's causing the fat cell to release the oil, but the fat cell's not killed. So that could be to your benefit in that now that those fat cells aren't killed, if you gain weight in the future, you're not going to get that weird disposition where you have little lumps and bumps where the fat doesn't come straight. So now you can gain weight back in that area, but at the same time, now you can gain weight back in that area. So it's kind of, it's up to what you're looking for. I personally have used radio frequency for my waistline and for the tops of my legs. Awesome results. Love it. And wouldn't want to do liposuction because I've had option to have that. I have had lipo on my outer thighs with my first clinic just so I could experience it. And I'm happy with that too. So it's kind of whatever your goals are. Radio frequency is one of those tools to help you shape your body, but not in a permanent fashion. So,
all things aren't equal, I guess. You see these advertisements and, they're showing you before and afters and, it's sort of magical and you think, man, if I just go pay them what they're asking for, I'm going to turn into... But it really takes the right person, right?
It does.
Yeah. So how do you find that right person?
Oh, so your right match for your...
for what you want to accomplish.
Research. Referrals. I personally prefer to get my patients through referrals from other patients because I know that patient already loves my work. So that's number one. Ask a friend whose work you love. If you see a friend whose lips look funny, also ask that friend, but then run the other direction.
Right.
So so ask a friend. Otherwise, as far as Las Vegas, it's in Nevada in general. It's a kind of a crapshoot because of the law changes. So ask about how long they not just been a nurse, but been injecting whatever product you're looking for, whether it be Botox or it be Kybella for melting fat or it be filler. Ask how long they've been injecting it. If they haven't been doing it for over a couple years, then you're going to be an experiment. So don't be somebody's first time doing whatever it is that you're getting done, unless you know that you are if you're going to a school for it. But that's just got to ask for the experience, ask for proof, look them up. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, very good. Well, of course, I guess the number one answer is ask for Nurse Chandra, and you'll get it done right the first time, right?
Yes. Ask for Nurse Chandra. Ask for me, and wear sunscreen. Yes.
Well, this has been fascinating. I can't wait to have you back on, or once you get the new clinic up and open and ready to go, we'll have you on, and we'll tell everybody how to actually come and visit Nurse Chandra. So can't wait to do that. But thank you so much for being here. It's just been absolutely fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed being here.
All right. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same station. Bye-bye, everybody.